first generation who's going, I can get older and I don't have to lose my looks. I don't have to lose my sexiness. I don't lose power. I can still do things, at this age that I never could possibly do when I was younger.
Hey girlfriends, and welcome to another episode of Tracy Gold Show. Today we are talking about getting our sexy on no matter what age. Yes, girlfriends, if you are slightly sensitive to these kind of conversations, you may not want to watch this. But if you are ready to feel sexy no matter your age, then keep watching. I have brought on today Renata Joy. She runs a lifestyle and wellness brand for women over 50 to help them to live their best lives, to feel sexy, to feel fabulous, to look fabulous, and to make it an easy part of life. Thank you so much, Renata, for joining us. I'm very excited to have this conversation with you.
Thank you, Tracy. I am so delighted to be here.
Thank you. So Renata, before we get stuck into the tips on how to look and feel sexy at every age, tell us a little bit about you and your story.
Oh, wow. My story. Well, my story started when I was a child. I grew up in a household where both of my parents were very ill. And I somehow related that to their lifestyle. So as a child, I never ate the foods that they ate. I exercised all the time. How I knew that was the key, I don't know, but somehow I knew. So I have always lived my life by moving my body, by eating natural foods, by managing my stress, by getting sleep, all of that. And as a result, I'll tell you a secret. I'm going to be 65 in less than 2 months.
No.
Yes.
Renata, I would never put you with it. No way. That's amazing.
And I say that loud and proud. So
good for you.
I used to hide my age because like a lot of women that I work with, I used to think that if you told someone how old you are, they would judge you in a certain kind of way. So I never mentioned my age. And as a result, people always thought I was 20 or 30 years younger than I actually was. It wasn't until I decided to claim it that my entire life changed.
Wow.
That's when I started this business, Pure Joy Wellness. And it's been great. It's been great. I love being in my 60s. I like to say I'm the new 60. Young.
I'm the new 60. Yeah. So Renata, let's talk about why women feel like they aren't sexy. I think especially as we go, we get closer to 50 and older, what are some of the reasons that you've heard women say that this is a challenge for them?
Well, I think it's a challenge because our society makes it a challenge, right? When you look at images on television, on, women that they consider sexy, they are never women over a certain age, right? They are younger women. I know in the health and wellness industry, they don't even talk about issues that women over 50 have to deal with. It's always about, here's your 4-week plan to get your bikini body back and, all of those things to deal with someone who is younger, but never about women that are over 50. And so what I hear from women is that they feel invisible. They question whether or not they're still sexy. They don't feel like that they're necessarily relevant. They're afraid in terms of, the job market that they're being pushed out.
Yeah.
And so it becomes a really difficult time for them to feel confident and good in themselves. And on top of that, you go through menopause and then you gain a little bit of weight. Your skin starts changing a little bit. And there's all these things that are happening, hormonal changes that are happening to make women feel like they might not be as sexy as I believe that they are, as I know them. So I help them change that perspective.
Renata, what is it about, because obviously we know that around our 50s we go through menopause, and I think, for many years this has been something that women just don't discuss. I'm now seeing that, any almost podcast or show that's dealing with midlife is talking about it. I still wonder though what our messaging is, what our belief systems are. Because I know for me, when I started listening about, when I started diving into menopause and what that's going to mean, because I'm 40, I'll be 48 in 2 months. I was like, I'm not ready for this thing. I'm not ready for it. I'm not excited about it. I don't want to do it. Can I put it off? Can I reschedule, please? So what is the, I've since learned it's not anything to be afraid of, and it's actually something to embrace and to acknowledge that it's a new season of life that has its own other kinds of fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
What are we believing about ourselves as we go through menopause?
Well, I can speak for myself. Going through menopause was a very shocking experience. And I think there is no two ways that women deal with it in the same way. Like my mom, when she went through menopause, she told me her period just stopped and that was the end of it. So I thought, oh, this is going to be a breeze. Yeah, when I went through menopause, a couple of things happened. One, I gained 12 pounds like overnight.
Wow.
First time in my life, I could not fit into my clothes.
Wow.
Now, again, think about, I was that little kid who always exercised and ate, and I did all the things they said you were supposed to do. So I felt like my body betrayed me. Then my libido went.
Wow.
So when you're in a relationship in a situation like that, and you are, you don't have that desire that you had before, it can create problems. But for me, I didn't want to tell him that I was menopause. So, and the reason I didn't want to tell him, because I thought he was going to think I was old, even though he's 9 years older than me.
It's a good strategy, by the way, because my husband's 11 years older than me, and I'm like, I'm always going to be the young wife, no matter how old. No matter how old I get, I'm still going to be the young wife. But okay, so 9 years older, but you still were afraid. No, but this is real. You were still afraid he would think you were old because you were the young one, right?
I was the young one. I was the feisty one. I was the sexy one. All those things, right? We all have a perception of ourselves.
Yes.
And so when I finally got the courage, because it took courage, because again, I was expecting the rejection. Oh, I don't want to be with this woman, the courage to say, here's what's happening. Then I had to go, okay, now how do I fix this problem? This problem having, low libido problem. What I found that was very interesting is for men, they have Viagra.
Yes.
There's nothing for women.
Wow.
Nothing.
Wow.
So you compile that, right? So when you're having sex drive goes in the toilet, you're not feeling so sexy. You gain a little bit of weight around your belly. All these things are happening. So what I ended up having to do was figure out how to balance my hormones back out.
Okay.
So that I could lose the weight. I could bring my libido back, so that I didn't totally not have a sex drive.
Yes.
And try to talk to other women about it. That's when I heard women say, I don't want to talk about it.
Wow.
And my doctor didn't really want to deal with me on it. She was just like, just eat less and exercise more. And I'm kind of like, nobody eats better or exercises more than I do. So that's when
Wow, Renata, that is incredible. And how old was your doctor? Because she's a female doctor. So had she been through menopause herself?
60s. I'm sure she's gone through menopause. She had gone. But I think that sometimes in Western medicine, I've now discovered that there are doctors that specialize in menopause and specialize in menopausal symptoms, and you can go and they can help you navigate your way through it. Most of regular gynecologists, they don't. They don't.
Mm,
So it's just kind of like, okay, you know, you're a woman. This is your time, and now you just do it. And a lot of women just give up. They just,
yeah.
okay, that's it. I'm like this old lady now, and that's just that. But what I see happening now, and I think this is because women my age that are baby boomers
Yes.
have decided, oh no, we're not going to take this sitting down. So
Mm,
first generation who's going, you know, I can get older and I don't have to lose my looks. I don't have to lose my sexiness. I don't lose power. I can still do things, you know, at this age that I never could possibly do when I was younger.
yes.
And example of that, I started this business, Pure Joy Wellness, after I was 50. I was a television producer for 25 years
Yeah.
and left a
Yeah.
television career to help women understand that they can still be young, they can still be strong, and they can still be sexy.
So
Or
Renata, how did you go about balancing your hormones? Did you go on HRT? Did you do it naturally? Like what was that process like for you?
I actually went on bioidentical hormone replacement therapy.
Okay.
That, for me, I did a lot of research, and for me, that worked. Um,
Okay.
a lot of women, you know, don't choose to go that route, but that was the route that I chose to go.
Mm.
But
And
I
what
also,
made you choose that?
well, I had done a lot of research, and for me, it was really important to get myself feeling back the way that I did before. That was crucially important. And so
Mm,
I knew I had to balance them out. And I tried
mm.
to balance them out the other way, and it didn't work. And that was the thing that worked for me.
Okay. So it's about finding what works for you, because what I'm also understanding is that menopause is different for every woman,
Yes,
right? It's
yes,
as individual as you are.
yes.
And so, I've even noticed for me, Renata, like coming out of COVID. So I mean, I picked up some weight because I'm used to walking around and being more active. And even though I was exercising, my apartment isn't that big in New York.
Yeah,
Like, only so many ways. And I mean, what people don't realize, you live in New York as well. We didn't reopen during COVID. Like we were down, we were locked down for like a
yeah,
year and a bit.
yeah,
And so for me, I was like, okay, and I eat a plant-based whole food diet. So like I don't eat sugar, I don't eat, all this kind of stuff. But I was like, man, this weight around my belly has been super stubborn. And I realized that I needed to do more weight training. I needed to do more strength training. I needed to figure out and change up my routines.
yeah.
And it started working for me. In fact, I discovered hula hooping, and I love it. I'm telling you, I'm like, woohoo, girl. I'm going to
Hula
be
hoop
doing that in the
is-
show.
It's great for your core. I can't hula hoop though. I don't have that in my hips. I just can't. I just,
It
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 just
actually
doesn't.
is it's actually in your core. It's not in your hips. It's amazing. And I've got a weighted one. So A, I get the weight. B, I get to dance because I love to dance. That's my thing. And I get to like lose the extra around my waist,
Yeah.
around my belly. It's fantastic.
So you
But the
found that
point,
thing that works for you. Yeah.
yeah, and it makes me feel amazing. And so I think that's what I'm trying to say, Renata. That's what I'm hearing from you as well. Is like you're an exercise man. You have an incredible body. I mean, I saw on Instagram. I think it was on your website. They say you have a body of a 20-year-old. I mean, you have an incredible body. So I can imagine that for you to gain 12 pounds suddenly, to feel completely unsexy, is going to flip your lid.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
gonna make
Yeah.
you feel completely
It,
horrible.
as they say,
Yeah.
it does something to your mind.
Yeah.
And you know,
Yeah.
everybody wants to feel good in their own bodies. And
Yeah.
when you feel good in your body, you don't feel confident anywhere,
That's
right? So
true.
you're always very
Yeah.
self-conscious about in any situation, you're very self-conscious. And so
Yeah.
I, during COVID, started jump roping again.
Ah.
And I decided, because I loved, like you like the hula hoop, I love to jump rope.
Yes.
So I decided to do a tour of New York City via the jump rope.
That's brilliant.
I
That's
went to
excellent.
all of the landmarks and I just jumped and I I film myself jumping and I put it on Instagram, and that's how I would get my exercise during COVID.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. So, Renata, let's talk about how women, so based on the fact, and we do know that for women, for all women, it's, menopause is different, our process is different. But what are some of the basic things that we can do if we are not feeling sexy? How do we get our sexy back? How do we get it on and start feeling like ourselves again?
Well, I think one of the things that's important is to eat foods that don't create inflammation in your body.
Yes.
That's going not to be an energy robber, but an energy giver. And
Yeah.
so I'm a true believer in eating natural foods.
Yeah.
The closer it is to its real state, the better it is going to be for you, and you will feel so much better and so much lighter.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a number one.
Mm.
Number two, I think it's important to come up with some type of self-care regimen.
Mm.
Like I once a month, do or die, I get a facial. So I'm making sure that I get my skin deeply exfoliated so that I can feel good that my skin still looks young and all that. And then there's
Yes.
exercising. You got to move your body. Like you said,
Yeah.
when you're doing the hula hoop and you're doing that and you're feeling amazing, I
Yeah.
think that's important. But the most important thing out of all those things I just said is find the things that bring you joy.
Yes.
When you're doing things that bring you joy, that's getting your sexy on for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you can find that combination, that's what I'm finding, Renata, as well, is that so I love to dance, and obviously we couldn't do dance classes. And so I would do dance classes in my apartment and that kind of thing. But when I realized that I needed to do weight training, I really did try and just do like weight training, and I could do it.
But
I
you
mean,
didn't
I could, but I didn't love it. I mean,
love
I
it.
I don't love having the extra weight around my belly, so I love that less. And I was getting injured during dance as well. So I would go to these outdoor classes and I would hurt my neck or hurt my knee, and I was like, I'm done with that. So clearly I needed strength training, and that was very important. But when I discovered hula hooping, weighted hula hooping, that would give me the weight extra. And then I also do like seriously, seriously strong yoga. And I
Yeah,
was like, wow. And I do it daily.
yeah,
Like it makes me sweat.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I was like, and I love yoga. And it's so my body sings when I do yoga. It just loves it. And that combination, Renata, just makes me feel so much better about myself. And it brings me joy. I put my AirPods on, I put some music on, probably what you do when
number
when you're
one.
roping,
Well,
and it just makes me feel so much better. And then I'm not even like focused on losing the belly. I'm
yeah.
just focused on having fun.
See, I love weight training.
Okay.
Love, 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 love. There's something about the
Yes.
power in that weight that just does something to me. I love
Mm,
the strength. I love feeling strong, physically strong. But
yes.
I also love Pilates.
Yes.
I do a mixture of those two things. What the Pilates does for me is to make my lifting safer and easier
Mm,
because it keeps my joints strong. It keeps
yeah.
me flexible. It's constantly challenging my core in ways that, you know, I would never challenge my core that way in weight training. So I do a
Yes.
combination of the two, like 2 days
Yeah.
out of the week I'm doing weight training, 2 days out of the week I'm doing Pilates. And then between that I'm running or jumping.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think we underestimate when you really move your body how
Mm,
it releases so much, right? It releases a lot of tension, it releases a lot of stress, it releases the feel good hormones. And so we really need to get into a habit of that. I have a walking challenge that I actually started
mm,
during COVID. And I knew a lot of my audience, they are not like me in terms of they don't exercise the way that I do on a daily basis. So it's trying to figure out how can I introduce movement
Yeah.
to women who aren't used to movement. So I started a walking challenge. I said, everybody can walk. And I'm not asking you to walk a lot. I'm only asking you to walk for 30 minutes a day.
Yeah.
But you have to do it for 30 days straight.
Mm.
A remarkable thing happened. Women were walking all over the country.
Wow.
They were posting their videos and their photos. And even though these women had never met and they were in different areas of the country, it was like they were all actually walking together. So
That's
we
incredible.
PJW Walking Warriors. Next Saturday will be our third walking challenge.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So things like that, just getting women to
Yeah, Renata, and what I love about that is that that is very doable, right? So it's also acknowledging where you are,
yeah.
and then taking yourself from where you are to then reaching towards where you want to be, but without being hard on, like, disparaging yourself, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we have to get through the discomfort of the first few days, because as soon as we're, trying something different, there is a self-sabotage mechanism that's going to be there. But I think it's also to be kind to ourselves as we're getting to where we want to be, to just take one step at a time,
Yeah.
literally one
Literally
step at
take
a
one
time.
step at a time. I mean, I
Yeah.
had women that joined the walking challenge that when they started, they couldn't even climb a flight of stairs.
Yeah.
And then they were like climbing 5, 6, 7, 8 flights of stairs like it was nothing. The thing that, like when I'm working with women, I like to say I sort of live in a bubble in New York City. New York City is a walking city. People walk
Oh, yeah.
the subway. So people are kind of used to being somewhat active. You
Yes.
go to other areas of the country, that's not the case.
Absolutely. You're jaywalking if you're walking somewhere. You're
So
super suspicious. They're wondering, is there something wrong with you?
so I'm talking to women who had never walked, walk, what's that?
Yeah.
With them, and listening to how it changed them,
Yeah.
right? How it just being out in nature and walking and things that they noticed that they didn't notice before. Stopping for a second and being present in that moment really changed a lot. A lot of their blood pressures went down. They lost weight. Many things were happening just by walking. So, I like to tell women that it's important to be active. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be where, it's great if you can go to a gym, but if you can't, there's so many things that you have at your disposal that you can do.
Yeah, that makes sense. Renata, a thought is coming to my mind, and this is a deep dive question, but I am also aware that for many of us, there's a disassociation with our bodies. And I think that when our bodies are doing things that we're unhappy with, like what you were saying, your body went crazy and you gained 12 pounds, it's very easy. It's probably almost an automatic to disassociate, which is probably the worst thing we can do.
Yes.
How do we start to re-engage our bodies, to take our bodies back? Because that's really where that's where that shift is going to happen, with us feeling sexy and feeling good about ourselves. If we're disassociated, it almost doesn't matter what we're doing. It's not going to feel good.
Well, I think that's where I say that where women give up, right? And so a lot of times when I'm working with women and a woman will say to me, okay, I don't like running. And I'm like, well, why are you running? Because they think they're supposed to be doing something, and there is that disassociation. Here's what I always say. Think back to what it was like when you were a child. What was that thing that you did that brought you so much happiness and laughter that you didn't even think about it when you did it? It just made you feel so good. You have to find that girl again. So, like, the reason that I jump rope and the reason that I love it so much is because when I was a child, we would jump rope all the time, not even thinking it's exercise. We were just jumping. And when I close my eyes, I hear the laughter and how much fun everyone was having. That feeling, that's what I don't want to lose. That's why
Yes.
I jump rope. So when I put my earplugs in and I crank that music up and get that music that makes me feel good and I start jumping, it's like everything else disappears.
Yeah.
I'm back to that place where I felt so much happiness, so much joy, had so much fun, all the pressures of the world. I'm not thinking about, oh my God, I've gained 12 pounds. I'm not thinking about whether my butt's round or not and whether,
Yes.
I'm not thinking about any of that. All I'm thinking
Mm.
about is this makes me feel good. So
Yes.
we have to go back and find that thing that
Mm.
really makes us feel good. Get back in touch with that girl. For
Yeah.
some people, it's drawing. Like people who they haven't painted in such a long time, but that really made them feel a certain kind. For some people, it's music. Like take up a music, take piano lessons again. Whatever that thing is that really
Mm.
touches you, that captivates, that spot inside of us. We all have it. That
Yeah.
spot inside of us that you just know you're it's almost like being in heaven. This is your
Yeah.
this is your sweet spot.
Yeah.
I had a client and I was saying, well, what kind of exercise do you? And she dreaded exercise. I'm like, what do you like to do? I like to salsa dance. How come you're not
Mm.
salsa dancing? Because her husband didn't like to salsa. Well, take a girlfriend. She went salsa dancing. She had the best time. We found that thing that,
Yeah.
made her tingle, made her twirl a little bit. And as a result,
Amazing.
her body felt better. She felt like being with her husband a little more. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's all connected,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. It's
So
all connected.
it
That's
is all
true.
connected. It is all
Yeah.
connected. So we get to a point where we're so stressed all the time and we're so
Mm.
worried about so many things, we forget to be present. We
Yeah.
forget to close our eyes and get in touch with ourselves.
Mm.
What is it that I'm feeling? What is it that I need? I ask
Yeah.
myself this question every morning. What do I
Yeah.
need today? What do I
Yeah.
need? But the other thing is to pay attention to all the wonderful things that are happening around you.
Mm.
And we don't pay attention to that. So
Yeah.
like for instance, I'll look at if the subway comes at a time when I'm getting off one in transit and the other one's there, I'm like, okay, that's a
Woohoo!
I want something today. Right? I want. There are wonderful things happening around us all the time.
Exactly.
We need to pay attention
Exactly.
to it. Yeah.
That's so good. Renata, thank you so much for sharing. This has been really inspirational. And thank you for sharing the depths of, also your own experience and what you went through. And so if people want to connect with you, how will they do that?
You can go to our website, which is purejoywellness.com, on Instagram at purejoywellness, and on Facebook at purejoywellness.
Fantastic. And we will put the IG handle on the screen. And also for those of you who have a description box, the link to her website will be in the description box. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want to stay in touch with us, if you are watching for the first time, keep watching, because we have amazing interviews with incredible women sharing their stories that will help you to live your best life at any age. And if you want to stay in touch with us, the best way to do that is to go to tracygoldshow.com, TRACY, gold is in the color, show.com, and there will be a pop-up within the first few seconds, and you can join the insiders list. And that way you will get a newsletter once a week, just giving you the replays and all the fun things that we're up to. Thank you so much, Renata. Thank you so much for watching, ladies. Have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye.